Okay, good morning all again. We have about 14 participants. We are going to continue to monitor the meeting room and we'll let them in as they are waiting, but we will go ahead and get started with Dr. Jenny Stroud this morning. Thank you again for joining us.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And I hope it's a good morning for sure. I know we are so busy. I don't even think there's words for the word busy. I'll let you fill in that blank. So I truly respect and honor your time. And if more jumps on board and they need us to hang out longer than when I've said the basic information, then if they want to hang out with us, we'll do that. So you can go on your way if that's what happens. There's something I would like for you to do for me. And number one, we're going to all stay muted, and any questions, comments, if you'll put them in the chat room, you can see Tracy Holland and Melissa Mattis. We're a team for district support, and they'll be responding in the chat room for me. They'll be adding information as well, so phone numbers and other information that you could be looking at or you may not. We're just going to double check and make sure you have what you need today. The other piece, and if there's a question there that they need to bring to my attention, because I'm not necessarily looking at the chat, I'm going to be looking at what I need to share so that we're only on here for the amount of time we need to be, so I can honor that. If there's something you could do for me, I'd really appreciate it. On your box for your attendance today, if you would please go in and put your first and last name, I would really appreciate that. That's so I can show my boss that I am giving information and supporting districts and schools out there. So that's not a, we're going to call you. That is a, please do that for me. So your first and last name is so appreciated. Thank you very much. So I think that's the housekeeping part. And my team, please feel free to interrupt at any time. I'm going to start with your year two money. So if you're on this Zoom, this is about 6508. This is about 1003 funds being dropped right now, available for you immediately. InduStar is ready to go. But I want to back up for just a second, and I'm going to share that we've had, I'm sure some of you do, 6507 funds left over because you were going to travel, you had conferences that didn't take place because we went home in March. So if you do have that fund still available, what we're asking is, just like we've done in the past, it's a change. You're making a change. I'm asking that you spend that money first. Spend your 6507 money first, even though it was extended, right? All of our monies got extended. But 6507, you can do it two ways. You can put it on your InduStar application when you complete your 6508 plan. And you would just need to code it by the event that 6507 is going to pay for. You would need to express what you're changing it from as well. Okay. Now, if you don't want to put it on the application in InduStar, that's fine. Another documentation that I can accept is an email. So the email would say that this is a change of my 6507 funds, the year. You'll tell me what you're changing from and what you're changing to with the regular breakdowns, right? How much per teacher or whatever event, stipend, you'll break that down. Just as always, but now we've put it in email and you've said in the subject line, change 6507 for Jenny Stroud High School. Okay, and that way I can document that, okay? And I'll pause a little bit going through so that if you have questions about that particular piece that I'm speaking to, you put it in the chat and we can catch it before we get too far along. You received an email last week or 2 weeks ago, certainly within the last 2 weeks, that gave the allowables and changes for 1003 funds. So the due date on there, even though it was on that document and email that you received, it was a PDF inside an email. The due date for your InduStar plan, the 6508 plan, is April the 15th, 2021. So let's talk about that for a minute. You've received, and I'm sure you've been online, right? We're so good at that. We're going to go check out how much money we have and when it's due. That's what this group does so well. You've been online and you can see that each school has gotten 2 drops of money, 2 different due dates. It said September the 30th, 2021, and then you had another one for September 30th, 2022. They added that together for you. What we are proposing and suggesting, certainly as best practice, and something that we've been talking about, I think since I've come on board, I've had the honor to share that we should be creating a plan with a little more longevity. At every conference I've spoken at, we've talked about creating that plan over time. This is certainly a time to do that. You see, this is the last year. This was identified by 3 years, correct? So 3 years, this is that 3rd drop. We started out with 6506, 6507, and now we're at 6508. So we've got a lot of things that we're working on that needs to be extended or to continue to work on. So this money will allow that. So consider this also. It got dropped at the same time, available to you now. If you put it under contract, you can put all of it under contract if you wish. Some of us, some districts have taken on some huge investing practices with certain groups, and I have some groups online today to help us because we have some new allowables. So if you purchase a contract and it's a large contract, then let it be comprehensive. You have that opportunity. Okay. Okay. So there's that. So I'm going to continue forward now with, if it's 2 drops, here's something to consider. 2 drops all at one time, added the funds together. They're both 6508. That means that in another year, right, you're getting it, you have it right now, but the next school year, there's not another drop of funds. So when I'm sharing with you to plan this money out, there are some that have chosen to create some major PD contracts, and they're all going to be within this year, and they've already spent this money. There's some that's going to divide it up, but go ahead and get it under contract so that they can choose the people they wish. They can get the dates solidified and reserve what needs to be reserved, yet they're doing it 2 years out, meaning this school year and next fall school year. So consider the longevity of your plan and how long you want this money to last, and then remembering the due dates, right? One is 2021. So getting things under a contract will take care of that. Have we had any questions so far that we need to talk a little longer about? Just let that process for a little bit. And also, you guys know you can reach me anytime, 682-6620. If you want to talk about your particular school or district, I'm glad to do that. Okay, I'm moving now to the email that you received. Is that okay? Are we okay in the chat? Can I move forward? Okay, so the email that I sent, if you don't care, I'm going to share my screen. Excuse me. And I won't be facing you anymore because I'm old and I want to look at my screen that's really, really big so I can read. Now what I've done, I've pulled up the email that was sent to you. So this should look familiar. What might be different is everybody got an email according to their academy number. So you can see on this one, I'm looking at PLC Academy 2. One of the requirements, just like last year, we had the 6-day academy, the PLC at Work Academy. Do you remember the 6 days that we took leadership teams to? And we were, what you might not know is that we were in all over the state so that it could be as convenient as possible and for location. So your academy number and location could be different than this one, right? I just pulled up one, so don't copy this, but your email looked just like this, except where you would attend and links. So we've all received that we have Tim Brown PLC at work and Dr. Muhammad closing the achievement gap trap. And then you received a PDF that gave where you are to attend, who should come, who you should consider to come, and it gave you the link to register and the dates. So according to location, there are different dates. These are 2-day trainings each. They're part of our state set aside money, so that is required as support for us. And what this is extending the work that was already started. Professional learning teams for Tim Brown. So that one, it clearly describes, as you can see, who should attend. We can only accept 5 from every building. So you might think about that configuration for the teams. And when I say only 5, but we want 5. We want to fill those 5 slots. Closing the achievement gap trap. Just to prepare you, you need to bring your school's data. And you may want to, and I know that on our computers we can get to My School Info, but if there's some things that is specific to your school that's not on My School Info, you want to bring that data with you. These both are work sessions. So this will be dealing with our local data. So I've shared where you can find that in that PDF in your email. You need to please register as soon as possible. So please, and I know we're just returning, so you're choosing who those people are, but some, like Dr. Muhammad's closing the achievement gap, would be great if it's your leadership team, the principal that's been before perhaps, or a new principal. But certainly it would be great if they have already started in this work of professional learning teams. Okay, I'm moving on. So this was in your email about the allowables. Here's what's new and that we get to share with you, and I'm so happy to present this. There is an attachment that gives all of the an overview, but I know you can go online, so I'm going to just like mess with your eyes here real quick. Hang tight. Here we go. Hey, Troy, will you give a shout out that you're here this morning?
Hey, everyone. Great to be here today.
Thank you. Troy is, as you can see, his information right here, and we're also putting it in the chat because these aren't slides that you're keeping, but again, it's in your email, so we're trying to help you get it any way we can. So Troy is with Public Impact, but he represents opportunity culture for us, and if you'll look, we just have an overview. Now we have districts that have invested and are engaging with opportunity culture. There is a very specific process, and it is truly the model of a lead teacher and a learning team, and they're bringing and reacting to the responding, not reacting. Boy, there's a difference. We respond to the data and create action. So it really is that kind of a model. They work with the district to make sure that the district is prepared to walk forward with that. And the state provides some technical assistance and guidance. Troy, please feel free. Do you want to share? I'm just giving an overview, but if there's something in particular to map the model out, would you do that?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. I know several people on the call today have already implemented opportunity culture, so it's great to see your faces. In terms of the design process, I think I would especially highlight what you just said, Jenny, that it includes two concurrent processes, one that we do with the district and one that we do with the schools that are going through the design process. And the goal of opportunity culture is really to extend the reach of excellent teachers to more students by putting in place new teacher leader roles and new career pathways for some of your really great teachers that you have in your schools and districts. that's kind of the high level overview. I'll turn it back to Jenny and kind of jump in when needed, but I'm happy to answer any questions folks may have about what the process looks like, what opportunity culture really is. Happy to chat with anyone who would like to.
Thank you. So again, I'm just giving the thumbnail sketch, Troy, but you guys, if you need the information, he has the details. You can also, you see the website, you can go there as well. You know, they really do work on the needs assessment and where you are and having people in the right place doing the job. That's always nice to have that person beside you to set up the model that will be successful. They can even talk to you about, and help me, Troy, about giving some longevity to it by putting it in place and then working through some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you were to take part in the opportunity culture design process, just kind of giving you a sense of what that looks like, I think it's a little bit further down. There's a district design process that includes 4 design sessions that we would have with your district team that you'll put together. And then if you're, we also have 3 school design sessions. When school teams come together, they, exactly as Jenny said, they figure out what they most need in terms of the opportunity culture model, what they want to get out of these teacher leader roles, and they create school specific designs. But within that framework, we also, at Public Impact, we provide support throughout the entire process. So you get coaching along the way. So a lot of touch points there that I think are touched on a little bit more further down in that document.
Okay. Thanks, Troy. So if there's one thing I need to distinguish for 1003 funds, we don't necessarily pay for salaries. But this is a training to put that model in place and begin that process so that there can be a teacher leader. And if you'll look, my cursor is by pay teachers more within budget. They'll teach you about that. They'll teach you that if 1003 funds went away, how can you sustain it, right, Troy? Is that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Jenny. A big goal of opportunity culture is putting these new advanced roles in place for your excellent teachers, but doing it within your existing school level budgets. So exactly, it's not dependent on any temporary funds. It's really sustained within what you currently have in pocket.
Thank you for that. So truly, I hope that you know this by now, but we absolutely don't want to engage with anything less than evidence-based practices, period. And we know one of the most highest leveraging practices we have is working together as a team. I just heard that yesterday from our special ed department division across the street, and now I'm offering you opportunities here as well. That's part of opportunity culture, and it's working together as a team. And I guess we can't say it enough at this time when working together is so significant and so supportive for each other. And now then we want to make sure that we're doing the right work, right? And I know that they can help you work through this. So please, Troy, if there's anything, just a one-liner you want to share, this is just an overview. And let me scroll on down. Yeah, there's the overview. Let's just take a look. Yeah, that was our shot, Troy, right here.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, Jenny, if I can just add one thing. So really happy to chat with anybody who's interested in going through the design process to create these new roles, these new school models that extend the reach of your really great teachers. But also I know on the line we have some districts that have already implemented opportunity culture. And so we'd love to talk with you about how you can potentially use these funds towards implementation support as well. But keeping in mind that some of your districts may already be partnering with us via some different funds to deliver that support. So just putting that out there, that I'm happy to chat with you all about that aspect as well.
Thanks, Troy. I'm sorry, I should have said that. These funds will support the continued work of those that have already taken partnership for opportunity culture. So I'm sorry that I didn't say that. So please, if you're there and you want to continue that work and consider the funding, please. That's the difference this year. 1003 can support this program. So this was a part of your email. I know you have this information, and truly, I've talked with Troy several times, so I can understand. And they have, he has great information that is mapped out on the website, and he has an Arkansas brochure that if you contact him, that he can share that with you. Right, Troy? We still have that.
Yep, yeah, we sure do, and speaks more to the process, a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
Happy to share that out. Yeah.
Okay, so hang on to Troy's email and number there. I'm sure it's in the chat. And again, you received it in an email, in this email. So I'm going to continue then with the allowables for this 6508 and any carryover for 6507. Excuse me. This is the continued number 2, or the second bullet, vendors providing job embedded coaching. We know that it has to be evidence-based practices. That means I can't just hire you can't just hire my neighbor to come and deliver some PD. It needs to be evidence-based, and they need to be able to prove that. So that's not new. So job embedded coaching, so they can come boots on the ground kind of thing. They can be in the building with you. And remember, this is school money that hasn't changed, school directed money that was based on your enrollment. And you can see effective instruction, curriculum, webinars, and on-site. So we know that in this time, if we go to that pivoting moment where we might need to be working from home, we still have PD days. They're still in the contract. And so we can pivot, you can purchase for that pivoting time. Anytime you work with a vendor this year, you definitely want to say that. Do we have the capability to work online as well? So professional development, it hasn't changed a bit of what we can allow. That's including conferences, regional trainings, and some of the conferences that have even been held lately, they're practicing social distancing. Everything is by what our state and federal guidelines are. So you can be assured of that. The speakers that have come in for any conferences and trainings, we're following the guidelines. And we're still planning as though that will be face-to-face, right? We still walk forward and plan, still get it on your calendar. Don't delay waiting to see what will the future be, right? The future's now. It's whatever it is, whether we're going to do it through a Zoom like we are today, or whether it's face-to-face. You want to get these things calendared. Just like with Troy, you want to go ahead and get things calendared. That does include the books. So we've allowed books in the past, but remember, they're for your teachers or your principal to provide support. Here's what's new. Opportunity culture is new. Funds for the science of reading to implement. So it's very specific. It's not broad. You don't get to go by a curriculum. That's not what we do. But sound wall cards that can support you. And then decodable text. And there's guidance there for you. So we embedded that. That's in your PDF. That was sent in your email. And then so I'll wait just a second. Is there any information questions so far, Tracy or Melissa? We're all good? Okay,
yes,
so.
there's just information in the chat, no questions yet.
Great. Oh, good. That means when there's no questions, right, we're thinking, we're taking it all in, and we're ready to rock with the information. So this last one for professional development, evidence-based, is offered through an ERZ. Now, let's hold tight for that just a second. There's one other thing on your application in InduStar that I need to remind you to take care of, and it is the package for, let me see if I have it on this email. Okay, that's all right. I don't. Get back up to the top. Let me see if I do. Okay. I don't, but I can explain it. You were given a handout that looks like this when you came to the academies, deepening the work of PLCs. And I'm positive it was sent to you in an email. That same email that I just shared, Opportunity Culture. So let me explain. This continues the work of our professional learning teams, and you will place it on your InduStar application on your own. So if you attended those 6 days, maybe you only attended 5 because something came up, you attended them. And you'll need to write that in as deepening the work of PLCs. It is $9,750 that you'll pay out of your current 1003 funds. Could be your leftover right, 6507 or 08, but this is required. Now, when I say attended, the exception is Little Rock. They purchased it as a district. Okay, so deepening the work has about 7, 8 components. And it is about also getting some dates on the calendar. So with that said, we have contacts for that. So our person that we can contact, our liaison for deepening the work of our professional learning communities, is Valerie, and her number is being put in the chat right now. Her email is being placed in the chat. And Valerie, you're with us this morning. Can you say a hello?
Yes, good morning. And I know my last name is a little bit tricky, but it's Brazil like the country.
Okay.
So it's a pleasure to get to join the call today. And I look forward to supporting the great work that you all are doing in your districts this year. We know it's a challenging year, and I'm happy to be here as a resource for any questions that you may have on your PLC work.
Great. Thank you. So thanks for saying your last name. You noticed I hesitated, right? I sure did. So Brazil, now I've got it. So her email is in there as well. So she is the one you'll contact for the $9,750 package. You really need to take a close look at that. Now, if we're mostly federal program coordinators on here today, this work needs to be mapped out by that school, right? Unless the district is supporting them to map it out, that principal needs to map this work out and get it on their calendars. So we don't want to just do that alone and make the connection. Go to those that are putting the work in that needs to put on their calendar. Now, here's something to consider. They can start doing this right away. And in fact, the sooner the better, because there's some digital aspects on here. Global PD is one. There's some other digital leadership pieces that are on here that could start right away. But then I'm thinking about extending the work over time. This digital leadership product is also something that could be extended and worked through as well, right? Because we're talking about creating a plan over time. Okay, so that was in your email as well. We've met Valerie, and also if there's other support that you wish, or some conversations that you would like to have concerning some professional learning communities. I know some of you have had questions and about contracts with Solution Tree or actually products. And just like we were allowed to have Troy here this morning, also I've asked Tina Smith, she's our Arkansas Connect for, there she is. Hello, ma'am. She's our Connect, and we have her, you know, Tina, we don't have, I'm going to assume it's tina.smith@solutiontree.com, or do you have another email?
That's correct.
Okay, we'll get that in the chat. So if we need something else from Arkansas, Tina, what would that look like to contact you?
Send me an email, give me their contact information, the best way they want to be contacted. Val and I will be working together to just make sure that we make sure all of their needs are met, whatever that looks like.
Okay. So, and it's kind of nice to have faces behind the work today. So thank you, Valerie, Troy, and Tina for joining us. And again, I'm not reading this document to you about deepening the work, but no, it's an extension of our learning to support what we received in those 6 days, the Academy 2, I like to call it, last year. So any questions about that?
There were no questions. Oh, we just had a question pop up about clarification on the 9,750 deepening the work of PLCs. That they're paying for the package that's an extension of last year. So yes,
Okay.
if they attended the academies last year, then a requirement is that they're purchasing the package to continue the work that we started last year with Academy 1.
Yes, so we paid for all, that was, the state paid for those academies. This portion extends the work. So that, and your 1003 money is going to pay for that. Now, the deal is, we asked you to come to an academy and we started from the beginning to the end. We just didn't get to RTI, but we got in putting in a professional learning community in place. Now then, wherever you want to dig in a little deeper, this will support that. And there's also even a, not a needs assessment. What's the word, Tina?
Survey.
Thank you. A continuum survey of where you are in this process. So, and it's someone that doesn't have a biased opinion, like even I would, because I love supporting you all and sharing information. This is a true survey of where you are in the work so that you can be specific, right, in what you do. So that's why this can really support your longevity plan. Did that help that, clarify that, or make it worse?
So in ESC Works, the workshops with Tim Brown and Anthony Muhammad, the fee on those says 0.
That's right. So
that's
good point. You're
$97.50.
okay. No, that's not $97.50. So Tim Brown and Anthony Muhammad are the days this year that the state can pay and support your teams, just like last year. So this is our part this year.
Awesome.
So we pay for it. What you'll have to pay for, Brian, is travel, food. Our money cannot pay for food, but if they're traveling to where you have to spend the night somewhere, it can pay for that overnight travel. It can pay for the stipend, just like you're going to a conference. You're headed to a conference.
Yeah, we're pretty far from Jacksonville.
Right, right, you are. And you guys, I want to tell you, finding locations that we could social distance in case we needed to is why some of us are traveling in a location where you're thinking, doesn't the state know where our district is? Yes, we do. But finding those locations where we can hold everyone and be on a pivot, just like you all are, of how to be safe, we had to hunt for those places that are big enough to do that. So did that answer the question?
Yes, ma'am, but I have one other.
Okay.
Within my district, I have 2 different campuses that received 1003 money last year. Is that $97.50 for my district, or would that be for each of those campuses?
It's for each campus.
Each campus.
This money is still just campus driven. So
okay.
Each one will pay that $97.50. And, you know, I hate that we're just talking about funds. I know that's what it boils down to this group a lot, and the dates that things are due, but that's the package. Yes, ma'am?
I haven't been in federal programs for 4 or 5 years. I've been out and I'm getting back in. So I'm kind of nervous.
Oh, Brian, you put all of our numbers right in your right in front of you, and call anytime. We'll help you all at the time.
Thank you.
Tina, yes, you're welcome. Did you want to add something that I might not have said well? Or
I just wanted to maybe add to his, an answer to his question. Each school will have their own coach and assigned to them. It is for each school, but they will have their own coach and own focus in that process.
Right. So thank you. So Brian, this isn't district money. 1003 is not district money. It came back through our ESSA plan, and it is distributed according to the number of students in your building. It's formulated every year through title funds, specifically 1003. And so it's based on the number of students in each building. And so if you went online and you looked at the allocations, you know, there's some that are receiving a whole lot more than others, and that's based on student enrollment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Brian.
Dr. Stroud, on a little bit of a different topic, we did have a question regarding opportunity culture. So if a school district is already working with opportunity culture, there's a question about the utilizing the 1003 funds to cover staff pay, at least for now. And then another question about, are the funds for 1003 allowed to provide staff the opportunity to develop professional development for their school? So those are two questions we have in the chat.
Okay, so the second question is a little easier because I'll probably need a little bit of help from Troy. But the second question is, yes, it still serves as PD time at your schools. It can pay for PD time in whatever your policy book has for PD and paying your staff by the hour, so on, and you would need to write that in your plan. Troy, are they hiring someone right off the bat when opportunity culture comes in? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So your schools that took part in the initiative should have created sustainability plans that define how they were going to fund those stipends for those teacher leaders, either through trading of vacancies or using consistent federal funds year to year. So ideally, you would adhere to those plans, but I also understand that there are some budget realities that potentially change. And so I'm happy to chat with that individual actually in more detail, and I can kind of talk you through what I feel like might be best practice in this situation.
Okay.
But I think it's possible to stick to the original plan and use those funds that are more reliable and more sustainable. That's obviously the ideal.
So to get it started, though, right? And you help me, Troy. I always use the word contract, but to get the work started, to pay for you guys to come in and to start the work, 1003 funds pay for that.
Absolutely. For paying for that technical assistance, you can leverage those 1003 funds. Just when it comes to the actual funding of the opportunity culture advanced positions, we work with you to figure out how to reallocate funds for that purpose.
Which is pretty awesome when you consider that's someone talking about how to budget your money for long term, when sometimes we're in such a situation where the student number affects our budgets, right? Okay, so we'll pay for them to come in to get that started. The implementation part you mentioned a minute ago, Troy, but then let them work with you to see how can you fund that position going forward. So did that answer the question? Whomever answered that. And then if it's someone that he's working with already, to please give him a call and they can be more detailed. Is that whomever?
If the individual would rather not put it out to the whole group, if you wouldn't mind just sending me a private chat, I can follow up and we can talk in more detail.
Thank you for that, Troy. Okay, other $1 million questions today, because we are talking millions of dollars, right? So if you have any other questions that you're wondering, concerned about.
A question we had in the chat was around purchasing high interest chapter books for the upper grades. Our guidance document specifically says decodable text. However, there are resources and even the questions to consider will kind of walk you through making sure that you make the best purchase that's evidence-based for your students. So we did answer that within the text, but within the chat, but I wanted to make sure to bring that up in case someone didn't see that in the chat.
Thank you for that, because we're not just going out and buying a set for secondary or middle school classrooms. There are guiding questions to guide those purchases. Thank you, Tracy. Anything else? Because I want to honor your time. It's been about 40 minutes. They can put my number in the chat. You're welcome to call me. You've got all of these other connects today as well to do the work. First thing though are to get your people chosen and registered for Brown and Muhammad. And if you're even curious, call Troy, because this is relatively new to 1003 schools. Most of us haven't heard about it or the details. I had to do a lot of learning. So you want to reach out if you're even curious, or a principal is curious, right, Troy, or at the district level, to reach out and ask questions. But I'm promoting to do things sooner than later so that you can map out your calendars, know that all of our vendors, when I say vendors, I'd say it with terms of endearment, are quite flexible in understanding that you need to create a calendar of work but you want to solidify any people that are coming to your district or school, right? You want to solidify their schedules. So as soon as you can, and you have your people together, and you talk with your principals so that they'll know which direction they're headed or what work they want to continue. Okay, I'm going to let us go. It's 10:40. Everybody good with that? We've got it answered? Okay. I thank you for all your work you do, truly. And we're a phone call away or an email away. Thank you so much, and thank you to our guests today, too. Thank you.